Good morning. I like your fox mug.
Thanks. I was like, oh, this is blurry.
I really put yeah.
Oh, happy day.
Happy day, yes. So you were about to tell me a story,
I was about to tell you a
and I just
story.
want to jump right into that story.
Do you remember our first episode? I believe it was. And you brought up how you went to your local Barnes and Noble
Mhm.
and you asked them about cover designs.
Yes. Did you do that?
Well, yes.
Tell me all about it.
So, so, yes, I went in nervous as, yeah, just a little frazzled, nervous.
Oh no.
Um, And I went up and started to ask those questions. And I was said, I'm a local author. I'm starting my cover design, just so exciting. And I would love to know like what you are seeing as booksellers coming off the shelf, what you are seeing too much of, what's saturating the market, what you'd like to see more of. Again, those just I'm so like you were with me the whole time.
Aw.
And it like definitely I was watching some faces scrunch. There were two booksellers that I had approached and they were really like clearly hadn't gotten that question before or a lot. And it kind of took them some hemming and hawing and I guess there was like, well, what are like what's gonna be on your cover? Like what are your themes? And so I was like, well, definitely a lot of nature, maybe some blood arcana, maybe we've got some primitive themes because it's set in the Ice Age or inspired by the Ice Age. And then this other bookseller came over and like I like his antenna like went up or something when I said primitive, right? And he was like I don't know, we just had a very brief introduction and then I got like whisked away by him to get like a 45-minute tour of the whole store. And like,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Wow, how
so we were
cool.
going and like it was a great conversation. We touched on all kinds of things. He said a lot of local authors bring in AI covers, and he was
Mhm.
very relieved to know that I'm working with a human artist. And I think I gave him some encouragement that like I'm not just coming in thinking like I wasn't even talking like on the path, like the mental path of like consignment or any of that.
Yeah.
I was just like, I really just want to be here to talk about book covers. And
Yeah, right.
and so yeah, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, then ended up getting on a ramble about the Odyssey movie coming out because he's apparently like a history buff too. But he did bring me over, like we looked at Jane Auld's
Mhm.
Clan of the Cave Bear that they had on the shelf. We looked at some other comps that I have for the book, and then also covers that I thought would be interesting for my book in particular. And then he also showed me the historical fiction and their current style of covers, like we see in Circe, and
Mhm.
that kind of like not blocky, but the contrast was the thing I really took away. This like darker background with these brighter, bolder gold, silver
Yeah.
themes. And the more that we kind of circled around those central themes of like it's the contrast, it's the title. He said what really doesn't sell well because it blends in so much because of how saturated the market is that standard like blank of blank and blank
Mhm.
title
Yep.
theme and then like just generic like foil leaves or swirls or something that just doesn't it might look nice but it just doesn't stand out because it looks nice across like 18 other books on
Right.
that in that same section. um and the more we were talking like we looked at YA, we looked at sci-fi, we looked at again historical fiction, adult fantasy, and um he helped me see like I was looking at the adult fantasy and it was like just everything was so dark.
Mhm.
And the things that did stand out had this burst of color on them
Yeah.
and like letters that you could see
Right.
on them. And
Right.
so I was like,
Visibility. Yeah.
really it and they didn't even have to be complicated, but they just had to be eye-catching. And so I felt like that was a really great tip. And another thing that we're seeing, or he's seeing, I guess, is more characters on the covers.
Oh,
Um,
how cool.
not being, yeah, like those are books that
Yeah.
are selling now, particularly I think in YA, but kind of across. genres. And I feel like there was one more thing that I thought was a helpful, um, oh, like when you're meet trying to match a cover style because it's popular, but it's maybe not appropriate for the genre that you're writing in. Like he had
Mhm.
kind of like a middle grade book that was mimicking a romance title, like book's style.
Okay.
And it for him personally, it was blurring the lines a little bit between, what might attract a reader or of a specific demographic, right? Or, age appropriateness, right? Like if they pick up
Mhm.
this middle grade book because they like the cover and then they find that same
Right.
cover in an adult
Yeah,
romance section, then, you might get into some tricky waters there. And booksellers are so useful because they know the titles, right? And like, they can be like, "Hey mom, you might want to check out the content warnings on this one before you take it home."
right.
So, anyway, the great experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what an incredible and such a contrast
Yeah.
to what you had expressed you experienced before
Yes.
when you went in.
Yep.
I'm like to a bookseller, not just that particular one, but you know what I mean. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
Nina,
So,
that's so
100%
cool.
sold on your approach. Um,
And
yeah.
that's what it really is too. It's just to spark conversation, right? And it's just to express, hi, I'm local. I want the reading world to be as good as it can be. And what I'm bringing to the table, I want it to be as good as it can be. Let's workshop this and let's try to just elevate this experience for everybody. And now, like, you have those connections in that store as well. So like next time you go in, it won't just be like, oh yeah, it's just Mina doing her videos. No.
They haven't found me yet, okay?
I won't blow up your
No
spot.
one knows. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a great, again, like I will share this tip with everyone that I meet because I learned a lot more than I expected to. Not that I didn't go in wanting to learn, but I didn't realize what I was gonna get out of it. I
Yeah,
thought I'd get some new ideas, but
right.
now I'm like, ooh, I'm
How
thinking like,
interesting
yeah.
that that character art point
Mm,
that they made. That's an interesting one because yeah, you don't usually see character art on covers.
yeah. I'm seeing sprinkles of it and I think it's
Mhm.
like, oh, like,
Yeah,
you get that first introduction.
right. That's
So
really cool. Ah, thank you for sharing. I'm so excited for you.
yeah,
That's
no, thank
awesome.
you.
And
Really.
hopefully you have a good direction with, your artist. And I also love that they were excited that you're working with a human and not
For sure.
doing an AI cover.
I
'Cause
think
yay.
I think there are good things coming here. So,
Yes. Ah, that's amazing. If
so
anyone
anyway,
else has done so, let us know what
oh,
your feedback has been that you've received. Because that's, yeah, I've had such great experiences when doing so. And I feel like it does allow the seller to then, think of us as humans too. It's so easy. I think we touched a little bit on this, I think last time, when we were talking about agents, but it's so easy to take the human out of the process, and that's what we're here to do, right? Is to
yeah.
humanize this process. So yeah, just keep going.
I think I'll go back to the other stores and just do the same thing and see,
Yeah, why not?
again, I'm sure I will even get more the
Mhm.
more times I ask the question and the more perspectives I get. Not to like totally inundate my artist with ideas, but um yeah, I know she's super open to it and it'll be a good, yeah, good exercise.
It'll be cool for her too, because then, like, the other projects that she's working on as well, like
Yeah.
you get different ideas and different inspirations. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But you had a really interesting question. Well, I want to call it a question, but last time I called it a question, it wasn't really a question. So it was a thought. uh
This
thought
inkling. Um,
exercise. Yeah, like,
yeah, so I was just kind of simmering on the idea. So for those who don't know, I don't really post about it on my feed anymore. It's kind of a work in progress that has halted progress. But still has a lot of love in my heart. And once I'm done with ooh, should I have I announced it? I have announced it to my newsletter. I try to announce my big announcements on my newsletter first. So I know that's been said there. But my series, Defender of Light,
yes. That is public knowledge now.
there's public knowledge now. Woo! Oh no, and I just derailed my train of thought of where my sentence was going.
Um, so it
Oh,
was
I'm there.
ultimately a world building. You're getting
Yes.
toward world
Thank
building.
you. So with the Defender of Light series, it's starkly contrasted to what I had been used to while I was engrossed in the Child of the Silver Wheel. So some background context so it makes more sense. Child of the Silver Wheel is a mythic fantasy that's taking Celtic mythology and kind of creating a reason why we have these stories. And that through that, yeah, I'm working with the our world. It's set way back in the future, like Paleolithic future, or not future, past, wrong way, that way. And so yes, I'm still on Earth per se, but the world that I was able to play with and create was highly fantastical. And I mean, I have like a tree that turns into like a million, like it just starts shining bright, like cool magic things. And I can really plot out the adventure that they're going on and kind of create like, okay, yeah, there's a lake here, or oh, there's gonna be a waterfall that has a dragon, because why not?
Of course.
Whereas with the Defender of Light series, it's all modern day with hidden magic and yeah, that's that kind of fantasy rather than just being purely like fantasy. So just considering the difference that the world building it just is with that kind of difference has been really kind of interesting to stew on. Right now, my characters are traveling through Italy and we just got to Rome. Have I been to Rome? No. So trying to remain as accurate, but also, like not bombarding with fake details is an interesting challenge, contrasted to a world that I got to create,
Right.
you know. Yeah, it's very interesting. Google Maps has become like my best friend.
I, yeah, I think it's really challenging, especially, yeah, as you're doing a ton of research on places that you haven't been to, or just even trying to capture as much as you can just visiting a place versus like having lived there.
Right,
Both face their own challenges. One thing, and maybe that's like something we can just reach out to the writing community about, right? Like, you know, I'm looking for sensitivity readers, beta readers specifically for this
right.
world building aspect of, I've never been to this place, but I would like to write about it. And, if you're worried about not, any gaps in your research or any of it not showing up on the page as it should, like maybe
Mhm.
that's a really good filter to have is your
Right,
readers, your early readers,
right,
um, who can maybe look for that. And so I'd say if nothing else, then maybe there's a bit of a safety net there in having
right.
those sensitivity readers.
That's so true. I've also received the suggestion to create a Reddit and like not self-promote because apparently that's not liked on that platform. But to do a similar thing and say, hey, I'm an author, I'm writing about XYZ, I've never been there. If anyone is local,
Mm,
please let me know, does this seem accurate enough? Like, would this be an experience, or am I getting all of the senses correct? Something like
mm,
that. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. I guess it's a community that I'm not really a part of. Like, I have a Reddit, but I think I need to re-download. Like, it's one of those apps that like has the little cloud next to it. It's like you don't go
yeah,
on this
you
enough,
don't
so you just like technically
your
you don't have
library.
it. You have to re-download this.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then even so likening this uh, to searching for your book and getting, more info about yourself out there. Google's AI really likes looking through Reddit because of their moderators and their system that they have to get out bots and people who aren't right,
Mhm.
or trying to say like misinformation or whatever. So a lot of the sources that their AI pulls when you Google something is from Reddit. So if you have a presence over on Reddit, your book might be more likely to pop up and
Mm.
have like a little self-promotion kind of thing, if their AI is able to scan your name with your book title through Reddit. So I know, right?
Ugh, yeah, sure. I got a little distracted because there's a mama bunny and a baby bunny that just hopped like
Oh,
right in front of my window. But
how sweet.
um much better than AI
Yeah, no,
continuing to infiltrate
real life.
every corner of the internet. Um, one thing I want to come back to though with the world building idea is like I read Don't Let the Forest In and devoured that book. And I think I'm sure it's possible if you're building like a secondary world as well. But for my reading experience, it felt like it was so easy to spend time on the prose and like every single word in each sentence mattered. Like it counted.
Oh,
It
love
made
that.
this impact. Like, oh my gosh.
That's
There
amazing.
wasn't like a single scrap of verbiage in that entire book, I thought. Um, it was just also like just deliciously well written. Um, I think it helps that that story, even though it had creeptastical, fantastical elements, magical uh, things happening, it was based at a like a charter school of sorts,
Mhm.
private school. Well, I'm not really sure I remember, but something that we know, like we get it. Okay, like uniforms, school schedules, expectations. Everyone's, there's a field trip. Like we most of us know what that's like and we don't have to like create that, and so
Right.
there's like this energy, this space that we're able to you know put effort into just embracing this like what's wrong about it
Mhm.
because of what happens in the story, like we know the things that are happening in the woods that start to bleed into the school and bleed into the povs and everything. So I feel like there's something there. I'm not sure I'm definitely not like studied enough to like point exactly to it, but maybe folks listening can tell us. Um,
Well, and from what I kind of gathered, it's that familiarity in the setting that allows, so you have that experience that you can draw upon, right? Rather than just like throwing you into a world where you have to learn everything about
yeah,
what you're surrounded with.
right.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not having to learn a culture. We're not having to learn
Yeah.
outside of like school, rules or like the social dynamics and stuff, but like we're not having to, learn an entirely new race of
Mhm.
beings and like what they're all about and weaving that in throughout a storyline or a plot line. Um, it's definitely a different way to spend your creative energy as a writer, I think,
Yeah,
when you have that more earthbound based
right,
setting.
right.
is like a whole secondary world. And Heartfire is similar to Child of the Silver Wheel
Mhm.
because it's its own world, but there's, within the universe, right, and portal magic, there is this access to Earth, which my native peoples consider part of you know, their realms.
Mhm. Right.
Because no one is like going in between the stars and seeing how far apart anything really is. It's like we're ripping a hole through time and space, and like we can get from point A to point B. Um, since chaos is a magical entity, and force in that. So yeah, it's interesting to like kind of have worlds collide in that way too. And you were saying that Child of the Silver Wheel is like it's Earth based, but it's primitive. It's
Right, right.
stored with
It's
with that can come things that we just don't have today, which could be fantastical in nature, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And as we're discussing this, I think I actually would need to no, I did include, okay, cool. Forgot that, well, not to get too into the prehistoric history, but this it takes place when the UK and Ireland was still part of Doggerland.
Mm,
So like I as we were talking about that, I was like, oh, did I forget that Doggerland existed?
mm,
And did I write this as an island? No, I didn't. Okay, cool.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
Because that is something I had to do with my timeline because I have certain the way that years are spanned align with where the constellations are. And I think I remember this was like 2 years ago, so I don't expect you to remember this. But when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh. I just skipped like 1,200 years.
minor time jump.
It's fine. It's fine. But even in saying that though, that is what is so fun about creating the world too, right? Like you get to design everything. You get to say, okay, we're gonna be in the year of the lion or something, and it's like that's how you tell time. Okay.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Yeah, and as long as you're consistent, right?
Right, right.
Then then yeah, the world is your sandbox. I at least in Heartfire, I because of my background and just need to have like as much towing the line as much between fantasy and biology based
Mhm.
accuracy as possible. I had this funny time editing a scene recently. It was like last week where there's something happening in a highlands is how what I call it. And so like when you say the word highlands, you think
Ooh,
Scotland, right? Like
I
you
think
think like
Scotland. Yeah.
these kind of like barren saddles of valleys and rocks and
Mhm.
moss and stuff, right? And great, but you know what highlands looked like in prehistory?
Totally different.
Scrubland and like brush and like
Right.
scraggliness and like the more barren highlands that we think of today is actually because, if I'm not mistaken, agriculture and like
Mhm.
people cultivating the land and
Right.
deforestation and like, here I had thought just doing like more surface level research that like, okay, so this is going to have to be like a sweeping valley with like a couple trees, probably around like
Mm.
river lines or something. Nope. Nope. Like 50,000 years ago, like we had patches of trees and like brush that was probably like much higher than you're thinking of or seeing today.
Yeah.
Um, and so if you're like me and you're trying to like put some, accuracy to the worlds that you're creating, it's a good thought to making sure you're in the right timeline and you're researching the right
Mhm.
timeline, not just like things that you can be inspired from any point in time, but just that consistency, I think, is what I'm looking for as a writer in my works. And I think folks, this kind of bleeds in, it's like related, but almost kind of not related. But I think I'm seeing it kind of paralleled in other ways where, um, coming back to the Odyssey, actually, another author was making a commentary on the language choices that
Mhm.
characters in the movie had made. Like they were
Yeah.
saying mom and dad
Right,
as opposed to like mother and father,
right.
and that took them out of the story. And so it's like, okay, there might be some history buffs, there might be some plant nerds. Like I want these folks to find my books, but I also don't want to disappoint them if I'm like not
Exactly.
capturing some of those things the way they should be. So I hope that makes sense.
Exactly. No, it is just all about that balance, and making sure that you do your due diligence before. I feel like that's like a really important aspect of being a writer is to try to make it as truthful as possible, even though you're writing fantasy, right? But it's still it's really important to focus on that and to remember that. Um,
You know
yeah.
who does it really well?
Who?
Andy Weir.
Oh.
He wrote The Martian and Project Hail Mary, and like
Mhm.
I don't think this man has been to space, but seems like he does write space pretty well. um, he does a ton of research. He works with folks from NASA. He's like working with like I think even like YouTubers who are experts in the field. Like
That's amazing. Yeah.
he does a whole deep dive. And so like I think it goes to show like I keep coming back to like who around me like is an expert in prehistoric ecology or
Mhm.
like Pleistocene era um flora and fauna, and like I've been to La Brea tar pits and everything, and I bought their little book and stuff and
Yeah.
for California. But yeah, I think there are some really interesting resources that you can tap into even
Mhm.
if you're building a secondary world,
Yeah.
because one thing I've heard in earlier drafts of my book is that folks still need to feel grounded with familiarity, I think is
Mhm.
something you said earlier. And even if you're establishing a brand new culture in a brand new world, you still need folks to be able to like think like feel like they know something familiar about it.
Yeah. Completely.
I get on this with social hierarchies and dynamics in wolf packs and fictional wolf
Mhm.
packs because I'm like strongly I just can't stomach the Omegaverse. I'm strongly like no alphas in wild wolf pack, in literature and in Hollywood. There's so much nuance to those dynamics that really gets um anyway, that's a totally different rabbit trail. But I will still say that if that is something you still want to write about and is natural for like a werewolf family to have,
Mhm.
like, okay, just tell me why. Like, tell me
Right.
why it's different than like a natural, a normal wolf pack or um, dynamic that we'd see in the wild, and just justify it and be consistent with it throughout, right? Like,
Right.
because again, like I'm coming back to what's familiar and known to me as a biologist reading, and it's one thing to just like assume that this is the standard quo
Mhm.
and perpetualizing something that even the person who coined that term in the 70s has been trying to undo his entire career since.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
but again, if that's what you want in your character, in your world building, just tell us why that's like normal and
Right.
and make it consistent and separate us from what we've previously known so that we can build that world together.
Mhm. No, I completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah, and I do think that that goes back to just that like what we were talking about before with familiarity, and then yeah, it still can be fantasy, it could still be fun, but just help the reader to understand why you're making those choices. Yeah, I think you said that really well.
Yeah. Well, again, it came to me from other writers that are
Yeah, right.
make
Right.
my world make sense. So yeah, thank you.
Of course. I want to continue this, but I have to go. So maybe let's put a little stopper in this conversation. Um,
Too.
Anyone who is listening, and if you have suggestions or ideas or additional thoughts that you would love to see included, let us know. And same thing, drop comments, leave your suggestions, email is down below if you would prefer to stay anonymous. And yeah, we'll get right back in here next time.
Yeah. And let us know too if you're interested in coming on as a guest speaker.
Yes.
And we'll try
Yes.
to
We talk
make
about
that.
world building or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
All
remember,
right.
if we can do it, you can too.
Let's see you next time.